Lay a foundation for scientific and medical research to address all emerging infectious diseases.
Federal government scales up national response to coronavirus pandemic with presidential task force.
Mr. President took the decision and gave the directive that the National Sports Festival, Christine Edo 2020, should be postponed.
Presidential directive puts Sports Fiesta Edo 2020 on hold for national health security. Senate to amend 2020 Appropriation Act following shock to global economy.
We are going to withdraw all cases in court that any member of the National Working Committee is involved in.
Plus, governing APC House back in order, members to withdraw all court cases. Good evening. You're welcome to the Network News tonight. I'm Ian Ray John. Dotun Oguyemi will be reading with me from Lagos, while Chineye Wonye in Enugu will join us in the course of the bulletin. The federal government says it will explore all alternatives towards ensuring that the nation's citizens are fully protected in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. President Muhammadu Buhari, who stated this at a briefing session with members of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, said Nigeria has foreseen the attendant economic problems. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
Sequel to the coronavirus pandemic, oil prices in the international market have been oscillating between $29 and $30 per barrel, as opposed to the benchmark price of $57 for Nigeria's 2020 budget. President Muhammadu Buhari said although many other variables, including production cost and political impact, determine the oil prices, Nigeria is committed to seeing how to survive the fallen oil prices as the problem had been envisaged. He said protecting the people from the vagaries of international economic fortunes and associated challenges is a task that must be done by his administration. While stressing the importance of education and healthcare, the president maintained that if the people are adequately educated, they will neither accept any form of mismanagement by leadership nor allow themselves to be manipulated by those promoting ethnic and religious sentiments. President Buhari promised that impulse in agriculture, education, and healthcare would continue as much as practicable. Chairman of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, Professor Doyin Salami, had earlier painted sobering scenarios of what could happen to the nation's economy if the COVID-19 pandemic lasted for too long. These include slower growth as the supply and demand sides of global economy would be affected, uncertainty which would erode confidence and lead governments to act unilaterally instead of cooperatively, further drop in oil prices, and lockdowns gaining grounds around the world. There will also be oil glut, trade imbalance, drop in foreign reserve, as well as increasing joblessness. The Economic Advisory Council noted that many countries may go into economic recession and therefore advocated hard work for Nigeria to keep its head above the waters. It also recommended, amongst others, a possible revision of the 2020 budget with priority spending on healthcare, reprioritization of expenditure on infrastructure to focus on projects nearing completion with pro-poor effects, curtailing recurrent expenditure, and boosting of government revenue. Members of the Economic Advisory Council stressed that the projections may seem dire, but the worst may be avoided with hard work and scrupulous implementation of policies. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And on Edo 2020, President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the postponement of the forthcoming National Sports Festival, scheduled to begin later this month in Benin, Edo State. The president, who gave the order after a meeting with the Minister of Sports, Sunday Dari, and the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Olorunimbe Mamora, said the action is in the overall interest of national health security. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The strategic meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari as well as the Ministers of Health and Sports critically analyzed whether or not it is safe for the National Sports Festival Edo 2020 to go on as planned in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. The President, who was briefed on both the preparations for the festival as well as efforts at containing COVID-19 in the country, maintained that it is too risky for the sporting fiesta to continue as planned.
Mr. President took the decision and gave the directive that the National Sports Festival, Christian Edo 2020, should be postponed as a precautionary move against the spread of COVID-19.
The Minister of State for Health, Dr. Olorunimbe Mamora, described the postponement of Edo 2020 as inevitable.
Is a possibility of people carrying the virus even without knowing, what we call asymptomatic people. That is, they carry it, but they don't even know because they are not manifesting symptoms. And what we know so far is that up to 80-81% of people will either be asymptomatic, that is, not showing any symptoms, or where they show symptoms, the symptoms may just be mild to moderate. And this is a major source of what we call community transmission. So the principle of social distancing has to be respected. That is, preventing or advising against congregation of large number of people.
A new date for the National Sports Festival will be announced in due course. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And away from the State House now, the federal government has inaugurated a 14-member presidential task force on the control of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, who inaugurated the task force in Abuja, mandated members to strengthen the national response strategy. Mitari Ikmen brings us details.
The Presidential Task Force for the Control of COVID-19 in Nigeria was constituted by President Muhammadu Buhari to deepen multi-sectoral approach to the national response. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, who is also chairman of the Presidential Task Force, told members that Nigeria's swiftness in dealing with the index and contact cases of COVID-19 has been globally acknowledged, and the country cannot afford to let down its guard, particularly in the areas of testing, containment, and management of the disease.
One is to strengthen the national response strategy, particularly in the areas of testing, containment, and the management of COVID-19. Two, strengthen collaboration with all tiers of government, private sector, faith-based organizations, civil societies, donors, and partners. And three, build awareness among the populace. And four, direct the deployment of any relevant national asset when necessary. Five, lay a foundation for scientific and medical research to address all emerging infectious diseases. And six, advise government on the declaration of national emergency as part of the containment measures when necessary.
The Presidential Task Force for the Control of COVID-19 has 9 ministers among its members and has been given a time frame of 6 months to complete its assignment. In Abuja, Mitari Ikben, NTA News.
And still on health, if you were a passenger on the British Airways 75 flight that arrived Lagos on the 13th of March 2020, then stay at home and isolate yourself for 14 days. This plea is from the Lagos State Commissioner for Health in the wake of the 3rd confirmed case of coronavirus in Nigeria. Joy Ken Agbakoya reports.
The newly imported case, a 30-year-old Nigerian female who arrived the country aboard the British Airways after a 10-day stay in the United Kingdom, is currently being held in isolation 2 at the mainland hospital, Yaba, Lagos.
We've started the contact tracing process. Thankfully, she obeyed the instructions and she confined herself to her home where she's only been in contact with her immediate family. That helps us tremendously because it limits our contact tracing to the manifest of the flight, which is BA75, that arrived on the 13th of March. We will be reaching out to every member, every passenger on that flight, as we did with the index case.
Professor Akin Abayomi disclosed that 3 more suspected cases, 2 Nigerian travelers from the UK and the United States, and another from Cairo, have been quarantined and are undergoing tests. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakpuya, NTA News.
Heading to the National Assembly now, the Senate is considering the amendment of the 2020 Appropriation Act, which was passed December last year, following the impact of the coronavirus on the global economy. This was contained in the interim report of the Senate Joint Committees on Finance, Appropriation and National Planning. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Okwo reports.
While Nigeria's Minister of Health is busy with precautionary and preventive measures against the coronavirus, the Nigerian Senate is busy working out legislative framework that will cushion the effect of the virus on the nation's economy as a result of the sharp fall in global oil price. Its committees on finance, appropriation and national planning were mandated by the Senate to engage relevant government ministries and agencies.
The downsizing of the Appropriation Act as passed by the National Assembly is inevitable.
While personnel costs at all times must be met, we can agree on 80% or 60% funding of overheads.
I mean, there are certain things that we need to do. We need to look at cost of governance. We need to look at a lot of duplicate agencies that we have.
The Joint Committee called on the federal government to transmit the Petroleum Industry Bill to the National Assembly for consideration.
That the revenue generating agencies must be alive to their responsibility in line with the Fiscal Responsibility Act passed by the National Assembly.
Bills that seek to amend the Child Right Act to prohibit persons convicted of rape from working with children for the provision of certain rights and privileges for the older persons to ensure their socio-economic well-being past second reading.
As a day will hardly pass without reading or viewing the media cases of sexual assault suffered by Nigerian children,
including the freedom of older persons to make individual choices, respect for interdependence and caring relationships of older persons.
Let us be conscious of the fact that there is a segment of our society that needs extra care.
Just like it's done outside this country, where if you go to the bus, you find out that the old people have their own place designated.
The legislators have advised the Nigerian Correctional Services to adequately profile inmates and separate them accordingly to avoid lumping first offenders with hardened criminals. Senator Uche Ekwunife moved the motion. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Okwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is seeking alteration of Part 1 of the second schedule of the Constitution to enable the transfer of some items from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent list. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the alteration will enhance decision-making on issues of priority.
The lawmakers, while debating the bill sponsored by House Chief Whip Mohammed Tahir Mungunu, noted the concentration of powers in the center as provided in the 1999 Constitution, which over the years has led to agitations for devolution of powers to states in order to achieve true federalism.
Matters related to police should be moved to the concurrent legislative list so that states can also have their own police.
The advantage of this will be everyone to your own advantage and everyone to manage your disadvantage.
As we promised, this house will be a transparent house and a house of accountability, and there will be reforms. This is one of such bills because it goes to the very heart of our federation.
The bill passed second reading and was forwarded to the Constitution Review Committee for further legislative action. Other bills that passed second reading include a bill to amend the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act and a bill to establish Federal College of Education, Katsina Ala in Benue State. The House also resolved to to set up an ad hoc committee to carry out an investigation on abandoned federal government properties across the country and the failure of the 3.4 billion naira solar power project in the 6 geopolitical zones and the FCT.
Despite the huge investments on the rural power projects, most of them were found shortly after commissioning in 2014 not to have been properly implemented, while others were outrightly abandoned till date.
A motion urging the federal government to evaluate the economic implications of reduced demand for crude oil in the light of emerging preference for electric-powered vehicles was adopted.
The request for crude oil is drastically going down. And to worsen matters now, the almighty coronavirus has also added, to this very pathetic plight.
The need to investigate the death of a player of Nasarawa United Football Club, Martins Chineme, during a football match, and a call on authorities to check frequent infiltration of armed bandits into areas of Kano State from Zamfara and Katsina States were adopted at Tuesday's plenary. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And still in the National Assembly, the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Value has acknowledged the need for more funds for government media agencies in the country to achieve set objectives as the voice of the nation. This was an observation by the committee chairman, Olusegun Odebumi, during an oversight on the 2019 Budget Appropriation Acts to the National Broadcasting Commission, News Agency of Nigeria and Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
National Broadcasting Commission was the first agency oversighted by the committee members. Professor Armstrong Idachaba says the agency has 5 million naira releases out of the 13 million naira capital appropriation and 100% overhead of the 2019 budget. At the News Agency of Nigeria and Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, the helmsmen acknowledged the support of the legislature to the federal government's effort to ensure digital transition in the country's broadcasting world.
We have 5 foreign offices, but because of finance, we cannot operate them. Therefore, only one in New York is currently in operation.
I'm sure when we change these transmitters, we will see the effect, and the effect will be an increased revenue.
I promise this committee will continue to support you so that you can give the good meat and the deeds to this nation.
The members made observations on the need for more than casual attention to the activities of the News Agency of Nigeria, limited capacity of transmission equipment by FRCN, and the need to initiate public-private partnership for the development of the corporation's land in Imo State with a view to generating revenue. In Abuja, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Ahead in the news, federal government resumes talks with ASU. That will be after these messages.
Be nice. You're welcome. Please, where's the restroom?
We'll just go into your right. Thank you.
I follow.
Mommy.
But you see, it's nothing to worry about.
Now, Glow 4G, the wrong thing.
Data is oxygen. Glow 4G, the new speed of life. Your #1 4G network nationwide. The very best from Glow, the grandmasters of data.
With the current confirmed case of coronavirus disease in our country, it's important that we spread facts and not rumors. According to the NCDC, wash your hands regularly with soap under running water and use hand sanitizers frequently. Cover your mouth and nose properly with tissue paper when sneezing or coughing and immediately dispose of the tissue in a covered waste bin. If a disposable tissue is not available, cough into your elbow. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness such as coughing and sneezing. Verify any information on coronavirus disease from the NCDC. Remember, your health is in your hands.
This message is brought to you by Dettol Clean Niger in partnership with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and the Lagos State Office of SDGs and Investment.
ABWAT, the pride of university education in Nigeria by NUC, makes history on 21st of March as it commissions 16 dialysis machines, a state-of-the-art blood bank and transfusion services, a certified helipad, a military outpost, presentation of 2 books, The Elusive Search for Nation Nigeria, and ABWAT, Pioneering Education Renaissance, 10 a.m. prompt, 21st March 2020 at Afe Babalola University at Dwekiti. Expected dignitaries include presidency, ministers, governors, NUC, and other stakeholders. Let's celebrate another giant stride of Afe Babalola University. Upward, keeping the pioneering pace.
Wake up, nothing can hold us down. Get up, born to wear the crown.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
Cheetah International Hotel, pleasurable evolution you can't resist. A concept delivered. Cheetah International Hotel brings you face to face with an unimaginable experience you can't erase. You'll like to come again and again. One thing you will hate is to be told the story. Another thing you will love is to be part of the story. You are looking for where your gain equals the cost. Break even with Cheetah International Hotel with our world-class event center that is set to blow your mind away. A world-class arena equipped with top-notch facilities, syndicate bedrooms, hall 1, 2, and 3, underground basement hall, gallery, and many more. Located on plot 224, Solomon Law Way, Utako District, Abuja. For more information on your highly distinguished hotel services, call 081 007 18882 or 081 007 18883. Cheetah International Hotel, a place where your history and future is made.
Niger, your love guest.
I do believe in love at first sight.
I just think it's not possible.
You know, as a man, you're moved by what you see.
My love at first sight is a mental connection. Personally, don't want someone really shorter than I am.
Guys really don't pick up on things like that sometimes, and I'm guys.
My goal, is to find love.
I just like them average, light skin.
My move button is just showing me too much love.
You might be the most beautiful woman in the world, but if your nails are not straight and clean, and doing with you.
Bad breath, bad odors of any kind.
I'm the mumu naturally, so...
I will be gone. I'll be a mumu for life.
I love attention, maybe food.
I want to try again.
If a woman is like my heaven, like she gives me peace, I'm good.
I was at the point of getting married, or my dad didn't approve of the relationship.
With me, my man.
I want someone that's a little bit taller than I am and muscular.
I think you actually have to know a person to a certain degree before you say you're in love with them.
Nigerians, coronavirus is dangerous. It can kill. When you see this sign, high fever, cough, shortness of breath, drowsiness, pneumonia, don't panic, don't hide, don't embark in self-medication. Promptly visit the nearest medical facility. Report all cases to the nearest hospital. Prevention is key. Avoid contact with infected persons. Avoid crowded areas as much as possible. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Your life is precious. Stay alive. Live long, live right. This message is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the Nigerian Film Corporation. Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibility.
Good to have you back. President Muhammadu Buhari has promised continued support and assistance of his administration to the new governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doye Diri, in his efforts at maintaining peace and stability in the state, as well as enhancing the livelihood of his people. This was while granting audience to the governor in his office. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
It was the first formal engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the new Bayelsa State Governor, Senator Doye Diri. The meeting, held behind closed doors, lasted about 30 minutes. Governor Diri told newsmen shortly after that the meeting was fruitful.
Since I resumed as governor of Bayelsa State, I have not come to see the father of the country. the father of our nation. I just did that. Mr. President received me as one of his sons as a state governor, and the reception was very warm. And he went ahead to advise that he was happy that I came, and I was happy with the way I have started. And in fact, he went on to say he has read about all the statements that I have made and the security so far in Bayelsa, and that he promised that as one of his sons, as a state like Bayelsa that is critical to the security and peace in the Niger Delta, he was prepared to also work with me.
A beneficiary of a judicial decision by the nation's apex court, Governor Doya Diri of the PDP came to power on the 14th of February this year. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now talking politics, the All Progressives Congress National Working Committee has lifted the suspension on 2 members of the committee, Lawal Shaibu and Inuwa Abdulkadri, the party's Deputy National Chairman North and National Vice Chairman North West. This was one of the resolutions of the meeting held in Abuja today. The party also resolved that all cases in court by its members be withdrawn. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
One after the other, both old and new members of the National Working Committee arrived the APC National Secretariat, followed by the National Chairman, Adams Oshiomhole. The party secretariat came alive after an Abuja court pronounced him suspended. He made a triumphant entry, preaching internal peace-building mechanism among members at all levels.
So today, we have come here to remind our members nationwide that this NWC is not divided. It is true.
The decision of the National Working Committee appears to be laying the foundation for a peaceful resolution of the internal crisis.
The 2 members of the NWC who were suspended, their suspension has now been lifted. We've also resolved that we are going to withdraw all cases in court that any member of the National Working Committee is involved in. And on my part, I've asked everyone, and they have accepted whatever they consider to be my own shortcomings. I asked for forgiveness, and they have forgiven. And whatever I consider to be anyone's shortcomings that irritated me, I have also forgiven.
He also explained plans by the party to promote good governance through ideal progressive democratic practice. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And on education, the Academic Staff Union of Universities is currently in a meeting with the federal government after last week Thursday's meeting, which resolved that ASU reach out to its members on the new proposal offered by government. This is the second meeting since the 2-week warning strike began last week Monday. Before the meeting dissolved into a closed session, Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige, leading the government side, expressed hope of a quick resolution, while ASU, led by its national president, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, said the union is ready to present the position of its members over the 2019 Memorandum of Action and the proposed University Transparency Accounting System suggested by ASU to government at the last meeting. The government suggested last week to ASU to think of how the IPPIS and UTAS can work together. In other news, 7 Nigerian communities across the northeastern states of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe have been selected for rehabilitation under the Stabilization, Recovery and Resilience of the Boko Haram Affected Area Program of the Lake Chad Basin region. This is part of the Regional Stabilization Strategy document which the Executive Secretary of the Lake Chad Basin Commission, LCBC, Maman Nuhu, came to present to the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, in Abuja. Musbao Dan Wahab reports that the facility has been facilitated by the LCBC, African Union and the UNDP.
Chad, Cameroon, Niger and Nigeria are the 4 out of the 6 member countries of the Lake Chad Basin Commission contending with the challenge of Boko Haram insurgency in West Africa. The gallant soldiers of Nigerian Army and the multinational task force are still taking the battle to their common enemies. And here is a minute silence for those who have paid the ultimate price. But beyond this, there is the urgent need to resettle the victims, most of whom are currently displaced, and to rebuild the reclaimed communities. Gulak in Adamawa, Banki, Damboa, Mongono, and Ngaranam in Borno, Buniyadi, and Kanama in Yobe State are the first set of communities to meet the criteria for urgent rebuild.
So this regional stabilization facility has come in as a stopgap measure to start providing assistance and support to the affected people.
When you have a war situation and you are getting peace, there is devastation, there is a lot of psychological problem associated with the people that have been affected. So you need to get them back as quickly as possible to their normal lives.
Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu, who is also the chairman of the Council of Ministers of the Lake Chad Basin, says President Buhari's government, which has shown political will for the restoration of the shrinking Lake Chad, raising awareness and eliciting support from global community, will support in ensuring political cooperation, socio-economic recovery and environmental sustainability required in this strategy. In Abuja, Musbao and Wahab, NT News.
And on sanitation, Nigeria is adopting an elaborate approach towards mitigating the impact of open defecation in the country before the global 2025 deadline. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the compelling commitment is coming against the backdrop of an interministerial dialogue on water and sanitation hygiene.
Slums and high-density residential areas, both in urban and rural settings, are indeed eyesores with illnesses in their numbers, no thanks to poor sanitary situation. This has earned Nigeria negative image at the global stage as #1 in the practice of open defecation lately. Sadly, this classification is coming at a time practical steps are taken to improve the sanitary conditions in Nigeria. The introduction of the WASH program is a case in point. With 47 million Nigerians still practicing open defecation, leaving only 37 million to decent practice, ministries in charge of the task of taking these 47 million out of this practice are not discouraged by this global ranking, but pushing for more engagement with communities and seeking the provision of potable water and infrastructure.
We have set up what we call OPSWASH, Organized Private Sector for WASH, for water sanitation in Nigeria. We are going to be working with them vigorously on this ODF campaign.
Consider it that we are at war, and let's not be complacent. Let us continue and be ready as if we are facing that danger.
Beyond the roundtable discussion, going to the field is the task ahead of those in this gathering to fully implement the presidential order of ending open defecation by 2025. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Similarly, the Yobe State government is leading an advocacy to end open defecation, communicable diseases and environmental degradation in the state by sensitizing citizens across emirates and local government councils. This move, which comes on the heels of the coronavirus pandemic, is designed to promote healthy living and hygiene among the people. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
Statistics show that in Africa, Nigeria is ranked first with high rate of open defecation, and Yobe State is among states in the Federation still grappling with the menace. This is Babans Angaya area of Adamatru Metropolis, and it is one of the areas where there is high prevalence of open defecation. This ugly practice is putting the lives of people living around this area in danger as they are prone to contracting diseases associated to open defecation. Abubakar Saidu and Malam Sani, both teenagers who came to defecate, say lack of toilet facilities in their Sangaya school compelled them to visit the open space to discharge their body waste. The narrative of this ugly practice will soon be changed as Yobe State government declared war on open defecation, communicable diseases and environmental degradation by taking an advocacy and sensitization campaign to the 70 local government areas of the state for people to key into their agenda. The move is also to further reinforce the Executive Order 009 signed by President Muhammadu Buhari last year aim at eradicating open defecation in Nigeria on or before 2025.
I wish to call on the local government councils, community heads and traditional rulers, and other important stakeholders to set up action and assist in preventing open defecation through sensitization of the community, support the community to construct household latrines, in public places, markets, motor parks, schools, and hospitals.
The sensitization campaign comes on the heel of coronavirus epidemic, with critical stakeholders saying the effort by the state government is timely as it encourages community participation towards putting an end to the menace of defecating openly in the state. In Damaturu, Innocent Suleiman, NTA News.
And away from Yobe State now, more than 1.1 million out of the 1.9 million candidates that registered for the 2020 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations have so far participated in the exercise across the country. Olayinka Ojo was out to monitor the conduct of the exams in Abuja on day 3.
It was one examination that generated a lot of discourse before its commencement. From use of national identification number to countermeasures taken by JAMB to stamp out multiple registration and other malpractices, which led to the arrest of many computer-based center operators. Finally, it started with 312,157 participating from the 669 computer-based test centers across the country on day 1. The results were released in less than 24 hours. The second day, 469,000 candidates sat across the country, while more than 450,000 wrote on the third day.
The exams was swift, though we had little network issues, but at the nick of time they were able to resolve it.
My expectations were not cut short, that the system and everything were very okay.
We also make a bit of room for contingency.
The new innovation of using the candidates' biometrics to assess questions is said to have further enhanced the credibility of the process.
The added advantage of this is that we are also transforming our educational system. We are digitizing our educational curriculum, and that is what we want to be able to show to Nigerians.
The remaining 800,000 candidates are to write the examinations between now and the 4th of April 2020. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Let's now join Datu in Lagos for more news. Datu?
Thank you for joining us in Lagos. Victims of the Abule Ado Soba are still in shock at the unprecedented disaster as they receive treatment at the Nigerian Navy Reference Hospital in Lagos. Jennifer Igwe reports that many of the patients taken to the hospital on Sunday after the explosion have been discharged. Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and NPC officials are also extracting petrol from the pipeline linked to the explosion.
Many of the victims from the Abule Ado Soba explosion were brought to this hospital, the Nigerian Navy Reference Hospital. Madam, sorry about your pain. Can you tell us what happened that day?
I'm in the bedroom. So I saw a lot of smoke. So before I come outside, I shouted, I did not see anybody. Then I went inside back. I locked myself inside. The next thing I see my roof of my house follow me. My house now fell down.
How are you feeling now?
I'm getting better, I thank God.
Adeogwu Oluchi is another victim. Sleeping when we visited the hospital and with injuries, it was great to know Adeogwu is the mother of this child, Favor, who has been in the custody of the Nigerian Red Cross since the explosion occurred on Sunday.
She's still not too strong. We advise that the Red Cross should still keep the daughter while we manage the mother.
So far, 56 victims have been treated. 36 of them were students of the Bethlehem Girls High School. 7 bodies are currently in the hospital's mortuary. Meanwhile, the site of the Abule Ado Soba disaster is now a bit deserted, except for personnel of relevant agencies who are carrying out various activities.
The area is still saturated and it's not safe. So I would advise people to please evacuate this place and leave the emergency managers only.
The Abule Ado Soba disaster occurred on Sunday, 15th of March, as a result of an explosion of intense magnitude linked to a petroleum pipeline. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
And away from the pipeline explosion, in pursuance of its mandate to safeguard the rich cultural heritage of Nigeria and the black race in general, the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, CBAC, has held its first board meeting for the year 2020. Awal Yusuf Jibo reports that the interactive forum paved way for new frontiers for the establishment.
It's a show to the world that we have our culture, we have a way of living, we have a way of expressing, and we have our own narratives.
The Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization was established in 1979 after the successful hosting of the Festival of Arts and Culture, Festac 77. One of the mandates of the establishment is to build and reinforce the gains of the historic festival, as well as take custody of the rare cultural artifacts used for the festival sourced from across the continent.
CBAC is set up for the sole purpose of promotion, propagating and preserving the cultural heritage of the Black and African peoples of the world.
This first meeting by board members for the year 2020 is to further deliberate on ways to ensure the optimal performance of the establishment.
It's supposed to go ahead and still propagate the black man's heritage in terms of documentation, seminars, literature, and what have you.
This board meeting is the fourth in the series. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
And that's it from Lagos. Inyere will be back with more reports on Network News after the break.
How hot is she?
Maybe a 7. How hot is he?
8.5.
Whoa, how hot is she? Very hot. Pick me. Just pick me, baby. Come pick me, girl. Man, I'm all ready for you.
So tasty.
He's so lucky.
Stop being jealous, man.
Mini-Me. Taste the fun.
It is morning. A new beginning. As you prepare everyone for the day ahead, just anything is not enough. Only you make breakfast special. Creamy. Tasty. With vitamins and nutrients we need for a delightful, healthy start.
So start your day right with Hollandia Evap.
Hollandia.
Fellow compatriots, welcome aboard the Progressives.
The assurance I can give Nigeria that I will continue to do my best.
The Progressives is the bulletin of the leadership strides and landmark achievements of the APC-led government in Nigeria. And I'm your host, Edith Yassin. Join me every week as we x-ray the different activities of the ruling party at all levels of government, bringing you facts and figures of progressive programs and projects. It's going to be entertaining, informative.
Being a technocrat doesn't mean that one is inflexible. It just means that one has different experience. And I think I can tell you that.
And reveal the Progressives, showing soon on this channel.
Good to have you back. Headline inflation hits 12.20% in February from the 12.13% recorded in January of 2020. Just as sales pressure persists in the equities market. Amina Nujim has details on business news. Amina.
Thank you, Henry. The latest inflation report by the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that inflation has increased to 12.2% in February, an increase of 0.07 percentage point from 12.13% recorded in January. The last time the inflation rate was in this region was in May 2018, and at the time it was 11.61%. On a month-on-month basis, the headline index increased 0.79% in February 2020. This is a 0.08% rate lower than the one recorded in January of 2020. On a month-on-month basis, the urban index rose 0.82%, up 0.1% from 0.92% recorded in January. The urban inflation rate increased 12.85% year-on-year in the period under review from 12.78% in January of 2020. While the rural inflation rate increased 11.61% in February from 11.54% in January of 2020. The rural index rose 0.76% in February, down 0.07%. The report also indicates that food inflation increased to 14.9% in February, while core inflation excludes the price of volatile agricultural items increased to 9.43%. In the meantime, 24 states of the Federation have met eligibility criteria for drawing out of the $750 million World Bank performance-based grants. Leah Katung Babatunde reports that the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, while inaugurating the National Steering Committee for States Transparency, Accountability and Sustainable Program, says Public Finance Management Initiative aims to promote fiscal discipline at subnational levels.
Which includes making sure that the states prepare their annual audited financial statements and publish them, making sure that they prepare their budgets and publish them, making sure that they clean up their payroll and have biometric data of their staff.
We hope that the states will take the opportunity through SIFTAS to really strengthen their PFM systems so that the results are sustained beyond SIFTAS.
Physical discipline and accountability at the subnational level is very, very important for our country.
In the meantime, the bears continue to reign on the equities market on Tuesday as sell pressures persist. The NSE OSHA index declined by 0.71% to close at 22,543.07 points, with the year-to-date returns standing at minus 16.2%. 675 million shares was the number of shares that was traded in 7,368 deals valued at 8 billion naira. The financial institutions of Zenith Bank PLC, Guarantee Trust Bank and FBN Holdings were the most active stocks to boost market turnover. And that's it from the business desk. It's back to you, Nyeri.
Well, thanks, Amina, for that update. Still on the economy, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has urged the World Bank to come to the aid of Nigeria in the area of poverty alleviation. Senator Lawan made the appeal when the new World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Shubham Chaudhary, led a delegation of the bank's officials on a courtesy visit to his office. Lawan said this is the time Nigeria needs the World Bank most, when the coronavirus global pandemic makes it difficult to raise revenue for the implementation of the 2020 budget. The World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Chaudhary, observed that the bank, as part of its goal, will support Nigerian government's programs, particularly as it relates to poverty alleviation.
Almost every country where we are supposed to borrow the money from is facing some challenges. And this is the time when the World Bank should stand out to come to the aid of Nigeria.
And so part of the exercise we're going through right now is in thinking about our next round of the financing that will be available for Nigeria.
Now time to go to Enugu, where Chineye would give us stories from that part of the country.
Thank you, Nyere, and welcome to Enugu. The Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi, has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for the infrastructure development witnessed in the country, especially in the areas of road construction and rehabilitation, which has helped reduce road traffic accidents. He gave the commendation at the inauguration of the 2019 promotion course organized at the FRSC Academy, Udi, Enugu State, for Assistant Corps Commanders going for the rank of Deputy Corps Commanders. Describing the officers as the first line of the management cadre who must be disciplined and have leadership qualities, the Corps Marshal FRSC noted that the promotion process will also include physical exercise, oral interview, and written examination, where the officers will be taken through their course syllables. Commending President Muhammadu Buhari for his giant strides, especially in the areas of road construction and rehabilitation, Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi advised motorists to avoid overspeeding.
We must commend Mr. President. The roads are getting better, so it behoves on us to put in countermeasures. Those are the part of things we are going to discuss here to guide them. We need more logistics too. We need more vehicles, we need more bikes, we need more radar guns, because speed is the issue. When we carry out this investigation, speed accounts for 50% of the print.
The Corps Marshal urged the officers to take advantage of the promotion course and keep to the rules and regulations of the FRSC Academy UDI, which he said would soon be upgraded to a degree awarding institution. We will leave nothing to chance in the fight against crimes and other vices, as well as in ensuring peace and unity in the country. The Commander, 82 Division Garrison, Brigadier General Christopher Ataki, stated this while handing over a truck filled with 100 bags of contraband foreign rice intercepted by officers of the command to the Nigerian Customs Service. Chika Ugu reports.
The Commander, 82 Division Garrison Command, he said the petrol tanker conveying 100 bags of contraband foreign rice was intercepted by troops of the division on Operation Mesa in Nsukka local government area of Enugu State. While handing over the truck and its contents to the Nigerian Customs Service for further investigation, Brigadier General Ataki reiterated the command's dedication and commitment in fighting all forms of vices within its jurisdiction.
It is my responsibility and my duty to hand over the truck and its contents to the Nigerian Customs Service so that they can carry on from where we stopped.
The Comptroller, Enugu, Anambra and Ebonyi commands of the Nigerian Customs Service, Maria Baya, commended the army for being proactive, noting that the military and customs will continue to work in synergy to curb crime. Meanwhile, the culprits have been handed over to the Customs Service for further investigations and prosecution. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
And that is it from Enugu. Nyanre is back to you in Abuja for more on the network news. Good evening.
Thank you, Chineye. The Nigerian Television Authority says it will not only be using its broadcast outfit to fight corruption, but also put in place mechanisms to ensure that its staff are agents of change. At a 3-day training on international accounting standards for finance staff, the Director General of the NTA, Malam Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, says the target is to ensure transparency within the section to meet global best practices. Olusheye Adiabo has details.
The finance department of any organization is crucial to its efficient day-to-day running, and the management of the NTA is aware that training and retraining of staff in this session, especially to meet modern technological demands, is critical, hence this exercise to build capacity.
If you don't keep up with the pace of technological development, you will in no time become very irrelevant. That's why we try as much as we can to at all times, bring our staff up to date with the latest technological advancement.
I want us to know that the training and retraining of each and every one of us, both the young and old, is what makes us relevant in whatever we do.
Blessing Prince is a senior accountant with NTA International. Our expectation is to gain more insight that will propel value addition in this stage of our duties.
For us to also learn and do what we are expected to do as professionals, adhering to this international standard and being able to put it to work as we are expected.
The training was organized by the Directorate of Administration and Training, Nigerian Television Authority, and participants who are benefiting from the training are expected to give good account of themselves at the end of the session and going forward. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
And reports Just Regional says the federal government has banned all foreign trips for public and civil servants as recommended by the Presidential Task Force for the Control of COVID-19. Presidential Task Force for the Control of COVID-19 advises private citizens to cancel all travels abroad until the pandemic abates. More reports on the Network News after the break. Do stay.
COVID-19 and the global economy is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. What mechanism is in place in Nigeria, given the ravaging effect of the pandemic on the economy? For answers and more, tune in at 10:30 p.m. on NTA Tuesday Live. Tuesday Live, incisive and educative. Join us.
Welcome back. Sports is next.